Hi, today I want us to talk about 10 plus things I wish I knew before moving to Dubai. Let's jump into the video. I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope you're doing well. I cannot wait to tell you what comes to your mind when you hear Dubai. The tallest building in the world, a 7-star hotel, gold, oil, competing currency, over 200 nationalities, a world of opportunities. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Today I'd like to share with you 10 plus things which I wish I knew before I moved to Dubai, and they're not so shouted about. So number one, this country is extremely expensive. And when I say expensive, I mean, as an African coming from a background which is like average in Africa, you come to UAE for the first time, you're coming either to look for a job or even just to visit. Trust me, it's so hard to buy anything without converting the currency back into your home currency, just as a comparison. So it's really expensive. The housing, oh my god, can we not even go into that? Because here people pay for beds only, like a small bed, and depending on the location you can pay upwards of $300. That is Dubai for you. The weather, oh my god, UAE has hot summers. When I say hot, I mean like 40 degrees upwards. It gets really hot in summer. You cannot just walk outside in peace. Like back home it gets hot in Africa, but I don't think it gets to this extent. Or at least, I mean, in Africa you have different cities with different weather. In UAE it's standard, and summer lasts for 6 months and then winter for 6 months. But the winter is not really that cold, like you need heavy jackets or something like that. It's just a standard normal, where at least it's not at 40 degrees and you can't be outside in peace. I'm not saying people don't walk around, but I'm just saying thank heavens for all the ACs everywhere which they've put in place. Otherwise this place would not be bearable at all for anyone. Number three, a social life. So coming here, you think like, oh, at home we like to talk to strangers. As an African, when you're walking on the road, easily you can say hi to someone. But in UAE it comes across quite strange, except only if they're, I don't want to use the B word, but I would say like if they're from your, let me just say, if you see another African and you say hi, chances are you'll get a hi back. But other strangers, not quite easily, because we have this kind of different nationalities, different cultures, and the UAE itself is not like created in a social way, social setting. So it's very hard to find, like, you can't just walk outside and be with someone and say hi. I'm not saying they wouldn't say hi bye. I'm just saying it gets awkward, especially since women and men in UAE are considered different. It's a lot of dynamics that goes into it. So social life, I don't know, even if you go out to clubs, it's not easy to just blend with people and chill with people and things like that. So as an introvert, it would be really amazing. As an extrovert, you wouldn't have any problems, because after all, you're good with saying hi and making friends. Oh, I would like to say discrimination. I wouldn't put it as racism or anything like that, because it's not, UAE is considered very tolerant of all nationalities. So it's not really racism, although it is, it's something different. Like here in UAE, as an African, if you have a British passport or a European passport, Canadian, whatever, you are more likely to get better opportunities compared to the rest of the Africans who have, normal African passports. So when you go to apply for jobs, sometimes on the websites you will see that it's specified that they only want either Asian or other like European nationalities, or American or British, and there won't be anywhere specified. In fact, there will be a place or a clause written no Africans. This is actually illegal, but still they do it, and unless you personally report it, no one is going to be following up on it. So there is discrimination. It's not like obvious. You don't experience it on the streets as you walk by. Maybe not. Some people are crazy, but it does exist. And I will not say like, I will not be here and sit and tell you, no, there's no this. It happens. It has happened, not only to me, to many of the African people I know. Being here for 5 years, I can tell you for sure, especially as a female, there's a way we are looked at. Yeah, so I will not get into those dynamics, but just know if you're coming to live here, and this is one of the things I wish I knew, that once you cross the borders, as long as you are from Africa, with that, you know, it gets tough. Yeah, it does. But courage, be strong. It's a nice country. Everyone is like, okay, they're curious. There's curiosity, but still, it happens. So this one, I would have to say, I won't last on it so long, but I would say the power of the passport. Depending on which passport you have, if as a black person you have a Emirati passport, or you have British passport, or you have whichever passport you have, which is non-African, if it's European, if it's British, if it's American, trust me, you won't face as much challenge as the other Africans. But the rest of us who have regular passports, yeah, we experience things as I mentioned in the previous point. So the next one is the Sharia law. The United Arab Emirates are mostly based on the Sharia law. That is to say that things like sex outside of marriage are punishable and can lead to very severe consequences, including deportation. There are laws you can't just break. Drinking, you need a license or something like that. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying if you're going to drink, you have to be in an institution where there's a license that you can do it inside. And if you come out, take a taxi and go home. You don't get to hang around on the streets and just be carefree like you used to be, because come on, it's an Islamic state, and that is highly respected here. The laws here are very strict and everybody adheres to them, so it's better to just stick to whatever systems they have laid out. So the next one is, if you're planning to come and work in the UAE as an African, I would encourage you to go online, go to the government web portal of the United Arab Emirates, read the labor laws. This is what they call it, the labor law, but there's clause. So read those clauses, learn the different types of contracts, so that when you come to apply for the jobs, you don't end up in some situations which I've seen most of us ending up in, and then they start looking for information when they're already in the situation. I personally went through that, and that's a story for another day. But it gets really difficult when you want to get out of it, when you're already in the employment and then the contract, and then you don't have information. So before you come and like, oh, I've heard there's opportunities, I'm going to UAE, I'm going to jump on the wagon, kindly go online, read that law, because it's also based on Sharia law, and the law itself does not protect workers from certain classes. So whichever one you decide to look for a job when you come here, you have to know which class your employment type is. If you're going to work for a company which is public or private, then you need to know which type of private or which type of public, because there's different types of companies, so you don't end up in these situations which we see most of us ending up in, and then it becomes tough, and then some even have to run away. So read that law, try and understand it. That is why we go back to the research. Like in the first video I said, before you come, do your research, do a background check, know what you're getting yourself into, so that by the time if something happens, you're not shocked, and you can know how to navigate and get out. So when you start looking for information, you won't be looking for information for, oh, I'm in this situation, guys help me. No, you'll be like, okay, this has happened, how do I get out of it? It makes a big difference when you're prepared. So unlike popular belief, the dressing code is not that like everyone has to be covered up and everything like that. No, that is specifically for specific people. It's like mostly it's religious or cultural, and sometimes, most of the times, it's the locals in UAE that you will still dress up like that, or some other nationalities that are Islamic, but no one puts a gun on your head that you have to be covered up. Unlike other Islamic nations, UAE is very flexible, especially Dubai, but it depends from state to state. But still, you can be free to dress as you please, but please remember to always keep it decent. You may get in trouble if you are not decent. Okay, keep it decent. The locals will always be wearing black or white. They may change the colors, they may dress like normal regular people, but the women have to be covered. But no one is like on your neck to have to be covered. So I will not compare with other countries, but I'm just saying, like other Islamic nations, this one is really, really okay. It's flexible. You don't feel like you're, no one is forcing you into the tradition. You just have to be decent, and that's all that they insist on, decency. So the main religion in the United Arab Emirates is Islam. That is the main religion. You as a Christian or whatever other religion you practice, perfectly okay. Just that in this situation you cannot practice publicly. Okay, you can't go around discussing religion on the streets because that's sensitive and illegal to some extent. So better stick to your religion, practice it indoors, but you cannot go distributing material for your religion out there or preaching or things like that. That is not allowed. You can practice within the confines of wherever you are, but you cannot go, like, I'm talking from an African perspective, where sometimes you find preachers on the street preaching the word and whatever. You can't do that here. Just keep in mind, because the main religion here is Islam. They are tolerant. They let you do as you please, but you can't go around distributing material. There are churches which happen to be on Friday, similar to the same day as the Islamic day of the mosque or the day of the rest. But yeah, just be careful. Practice whatever religion, because there's Hindus here, there's Christians, all kinds of religion, Buddhists, but the main one is Islam, and they respect it like that, and they give it like that. So blend in, okay? So the nightlife that people don't talk about so much, but yes, in Dubai, ladies, this one is for you. Social life or nightlife for ladies is amazing, because every other day in Dubai there's a ladies' night for free. Drinks on you, drinks free. You just need to show up, like, just come. So if you're with your girls and you like to have a good time every day after work, there's always a place that's happening for ladies for free. But there's a but. There's terms and conditions. The dressing has to be, according to the specified. So when you're looking for a place to go at night, check out the dressing. Otherwise you might not be allowed to go into the club. But honestly, nightlife in UAE for females, perfect. I'm not saying it's not good for men. I'm just saying women have more advantage. Okay. So last but not least, I would say the career opportunities that are available for you as an African. Honestly, there's opportunities in every field. In every field, there is an opportunity in UAE. It's like, it's already in the future. So there is opportunity. The only catch is, as an African, you always have to do something extra to prove yourself that, okay, I'm good for this. I can do this regardless of papers. They don't even look at papers. They're looking at, I'm not sure what they look at, but I would say that you really have to prove yourself. That's it. Remember that thing we talked about, discrimination due to whatever reasons? This is one of those areas where it's really, really, really tough for Africans in the UAE. Because yes, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's very possible to get jobs in those multi-million companies. But, you have to put in work, sweat, tears. So many things have to go into it. But it's possible. On the other hand, if you wish to start a business in the UAE, two options. You can start, but you will never own your own company 100%. 51% of your company goes to a local. So they give you their signature and you have to pay them a certain amount, which will be agreed between you two. So basically 51% of shares belongs to the local. The second option is you can own your own company 100%, called free zone. But then in this situation, you do have to deal with the government directly, and it's more or less the same thing. So it's called private limited liability company, and you have now the free zone company where you deal directly with the government. So whichever one you choose, it's up to you as an entrepreneur. But just know that in this country, as an entrepreneur, a certain big amount of money will always go to the government, and you can never own your own company 100%. And even if you do, as considered in the free zone, then you have to deal with the government directly. So probably they will own 51% of your company. That's the law. So my final and biggest one used to be hair struggles. OMG. Hey, UAE. So you come to UAE, you're thinking, oh, in Africa, every weekend I can go to the salon, get my hair done. Oh, welcome, honey. Welcome to the United Arab Emirates. I'm not saying it's not available in UAE. It's available in Dubai. It's all over. Most of the salons for ladies are owned by Ethiopian ladies. They do a good job. The pricing is a bit expensive, but the one thing I really love about it is that you walk in like this, you come out looking like a superstar. You will have to part with some good amount, but all in all, it's worth it. It's really worth it. For the guys, the haircuts, you really have to know where to go, because of course, if they're not African, they don't know how to cut your hair. So African hair is sensitive. I'm not saying the products are not available. I'm just saying it's gonna take time before you find that one barber that you're going to live with and enjoy going to. And then with the girls, same situation. These things are available, but it is a struggle, so it will take time before. Okay, but if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone, everything has house calls, and you can just always call and someone will come to your house and they'll do it for you. So nothing to worry about. But I just wish I knew this before. It's a highlight of things I wish I knew before I moved to Dubai. Successful trip to Dubai has to be properly pre-planned and well budgeted for. Everything is possible. It's an amazing country, like I said, but I wish I knew these things before I moved, because hey, it was tough. I'm just gonna say thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe, comment, share with your friends to learn more about UAE, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.